This man played 322 games for his country, took 690 wickets. He had 19 fifers, around 2,500 runs, 487 first-class wickets, several seasons in the IPL, the BBL, the CPL, World Cups, Ashes, star in India, and provided our nation with the safety that we had the world's fastest bowler, or equal fastest, depending on who you ask.
Consistently.
It is none other than Brett Lee looking absolutely disgusting in front of us. He just looked like power and wealth and attractiveness. Binga, welcome.
Thank you. Great to be. Are you sure you got the right guy?
Yes,
that's a lovely introduction.
I actually
Maybe we
can't
can roll
see
that out.
That watch is blinging into my eyes. I can't see. Someone bring us some glasses now.
How is Dubai?
Yeah.
Dubai's great. It's actually a wonderful spot. It's been cold here today, but for the standards in terms of temperature where I've come from,
for you,
48 degrees.
Oh, mate, that is...
but good to be back home.
Yeah.
This will always be home.
Yeah, yes.
And great to see you guys face to face finally.
Yes. I would say, Binga, that nobody does the Cockney rhyming slang, Gary Jack... What did you call a bottle of water before? Hugo Porter. Dad and Dave, shave, Niagara Falls. Do your own research on that one. Nobody does that stuff better.
Got to go see a Mike Proctor about this Jimmy Jack. That was Mike Proctor. Sorry.
Now, did you grow up with this, or have you developed this over time?
Well, I reckon the best person that does all the rhyming slang is actually one of the War Boys, but not any player that played for Australia.
Okay.
Dean War.
Dean.
So the brother of Stephen Mark, he was hilarious, and during Sheffield Shield training, and him being around the team and all that, he's just hilarious. And got passed on to Brad McNamara, and Buzzard, hanging around him for the last 30 years, it just sort of rubs off. So it happens quickly.
Well, let's just begin at grade cricket. I heard Sydney Morning Herald cricket journalist Tom Decent talking about you on a rival cricket podcast that shan't be named, Willow Talk, and we're appearing on it tomorrow. But he was talking about once being extremely happy to avoid playing you in a game because you turned up to a grade game. I presume it was against Hawkesbury.
I heard this.
Sydney, knew who was playing for it at the time. Who cares? And you turned up and took one look at the run-ups and decided you weren't playing.
And I think the quote was, I jumped in my sports car and drove off. Bit of mayo on the story, maybe.
A Lamborghini's on a sports car.
I can't remember that. I can't remember that.
But why would you? It's a grade game.
I actually enjoy playing grade cricket, funnily enough. And
I bet you did.
I actually enjoyed
No, I did.
Contrary to what you
but
might
you know what
assume.
it is? It's actually when you play...
I bet you
and
enjoyed
if
playing
you've
against
had-
amateurs.
I think I got smacked more in grade cricket.
Yeah, sure.
The sledging was good, really good
Yeah.
sledging.
Yeah.
But no, it's nice sometimes to play the game that we love and we grew up watching without all the cameras. Not having 34 cameras on you and
totally.
the stress of all the press and all
That
that.
is nice.
Yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about.
A couple of dogs walking around and
Nice to have a run around in the park, like in the backyard or something,
it
kind
is,
of thing, in first grade.
But it's still the same competition. It's still the same energy, and the celebrations are the same. They're not rehearsed. They all happen, and they start at grade cricket.
See, before Frogbox existed, where like every game, whether it be like a first grade, Sydney Test game, or Division 7 where they use a wheelie bin for stumps, every game is now filmed. Whereas the only time grade cricket was ever filmed, whereas like if you were playing a game and there'd be like news cameras down there, and an incident. An incident,
that someone's caught in their mobile phone.
Yeah, that's right.
Which you don't want to be on that.
You don't want to be on that. No. I remember a game you played against Bankstown at Bankstown Oval. You're playing for the Wales, and you were just bumping blokes, just getting through the chest. I've got to tell you, that makes you feel good.
Yeah,
that's got to be an
A
amazing.
little bit in the wicket there too. It was a little bit of a green top, and the boys ragging me on. Come on, I thought you were quicker than that, so push back a few more paces.
I'd be saying so much if Brett Lee was in my team. Opening bowling. Yeah, just come up from second grade like in gully. You know what I mean? Go bigger.
He's scared.
I mean, even before like stuff was filmed, like you would have been a bowler coming through grade cricket, like for whom there were whispers about shit. You would have been the whispers-based bowler. What does that feel like going into games knowing that opposition only knew you by like your first initial and your last name and just whispers about your exploits?
I think the first time that I got any sort of mention, it was my first game for Campbelltown. So I'd come up from the south coast, Shane and I had picked the closest club, which is 45 minutes from where we were born, down at lovely Mount Warrigal. No one's ever heard of. And played for Campbelltown, and Shane got 5 for, I got 4 for. I took the first 4, Shane took the last 5, and there was a run out. So when it went Lee, run out, they thought Shane got 9 for. Until he had to do a press thing and said, oh no, I'm playing with my, younger brother.
Yeah.
And so for the first 18 months I was bowling with Shane, and then a few of the boys in the team tapped Shane on the back and said, mate, you might want to give him the win next week. Shane being the older brother and biggest cheat in backyard cricket, it was always like he's taking the wind. So it was probably age of 16 where those whistles then became, trying to get into the Sheffield Shield squad.
Yeah.
I still remember it because we were sponsored back then by, I think it was Light Ice, the beer company.
Yeah. Great
and I wasn't allowed to wear the shirt because I was
era.
under 18. I wasn't allowed to wear the shirt.
Really?
Yeah.
So I had to wear this sort of unbranded shirt. So you feel like a bit of a nuffy.
Right.
Like you're not really part of the team.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So in the New South Wales squad under 18. Yeah, it must have sucked. When you unfortunately have to play for New South Wales at that era under the age of 18. How does that era New South Wales team is just I'm ODing on safety. How do you make a name for yourself at training? There, what do you remember about? Are you going bumpers?
Just sniffs.
Flat out.
And are you being selective about who you're bowling them to, or are you just backing yourself in at all costs and times?
I think my first Sheffield Shield training session, I was bowling to Phil Emery, the captain. I was going to say Phil Alley, and I'll get to that in a second. But Phil Emery,
That's a big bumper.
who was a skipper, but we're indoors. And the indoor nets had just been put in there, I think, those
SCG.
new ones.
They were lightning.
And I sniffed him. I think I broke his hand, and he wasn't happy. But deep down, a few of the guys said, that's probably one way to get in the team if you want to, rev up the captain.
Yeah.
But yeah, you just try and charge in. I think back to my first Campbelltown tryout where they said you'll start seconds first week.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
So I was 16 and went up, and Barry Knight, the former English cricketer, he sort of said to me, right, you're going to bowl at a guy called Troy Crosland. So he's a captain of first grade, left-hander, and he goes, try him with a bumper. Heard you could bowl a decent bumper. I said, he's not wearing a helmet. That's all right. Indoor nets, winter.
Oh.
Bowl a bumper. I said, no, he's not wearing a helmet. Okay, I'll bowl a bumper.
Twist me arm. Twist me own arm.
And unfortunately, I hit him and smashed his jaw. He had to eat through a straw for about 6 months. And I took his spot in first grade. Well, I'm not a malice person. Okay, I want to make that very clear.
I know.
But that was it. And there are times where you've got to step up to the plate. And I couldn't bowl spin. I couldn't bat.
Yeah.
Quick to me came a bit easier than the other forms.
Mate, there must have been a time when you were coming through at sort of 12, 13, 14, whenever it was you started to bowl really quick, where parents would have been taking their kids out of sides because they were like, I don't want you to bowl at my son. Did that ever happen?
I got to ask the coach, who was a fantastic coach. I had him throughout 10s and 12s and 14s on a couple of years. And he had some parents come up and saying, can you tell that blonde guy to slow down? He said, no, he's playing, he's the right age, he's legal to play on this age limit.
Yeah.
No. And it would have been funny because if I was told to slow down, I probably would have slowed down. I would have gone, probably I didn't want to, but the coach says, do that, you try and do that.
Yeah.
But to his credit, he says, no, go quicker. Okay, red ragdoll ball. You're welcome.
In the dealings we've had, you don't come across as a person of malice, but did you have that dog in you as a bowler though?
Yeah. I do. You have to have that white line fever.
Yeah.
And I've heard a few other sports people from different parts, and there's a lot of different things that create energy, whether it's cricket, whether you've got to be a striker, and they say you got to have that white line fever. You have to have it because you've got to make sure that when you're out there, you are out there to do a job. And Steve Waugh always said that my role for the first 2 or 3 years playing for Australia was to scare the tripe out of them. Mm. That was my role. And I said, well, he goes, if you get 1 wicket this spell, I don't care how many runs you go for. You bowl you 4 or 5 overs flat out, bump them, test them out. If you get us 1 wicket, we're back in the game. Mm-hmm. But I'd be getting 1 for 30 or 4, or nicks over slips, and they'd try and take you on. I said, as long as that, when you look at the figures, next contractual meeting, that comes into play, mucking around.
Yeah.
But it was a really good era, and have someone to back you. But yeah, you have to set the tone.
You mentioned before about bowling to the first grade captain and scaring the life out of them basically. But there's great footage on YouTube of you bowling at the academy against Steve Waugh.
Yeah.
Who were you playing against Australia? Was that what that was?
Yes, and it's a very funny story, this, because I was playing for the back then the Commonwealth Bank Cricket Academy out of Adelaide. Mm-hmm. So moved down there after my HSC, did 2 stints. Actually, one of the head coaches down there at the first year was Richard Cheekwee.
Oh, really?
Cheeks, who's now the lead singer. But we played against Australia at Adelaide Oval.
Right.
And my brother was just new to the Australian team. Yep, trying to find his way and trying to get some form and stay in there. So Steve hit the ball back to me, and I picked it up and just pegged it, just out of, just habit. I probably wouldn't have done it if I knew it was Australian captain. I just pegged it and was like, ran him out. Shane came in. I got him out third ball. And I felt so bad. I walked up after the game and said, sorry, mate. He goes, nah, part of the game. I would have tried to hit you for 4 or 6 and play on.
Yeah, amazing.
England's quicks this summer, Binga. 5 blokes hitting, 145 Ks, they say. Are they the cartel now? I mean, you are you're the master of quicks and speed. You know speed when you see it. We spent some time with you in the last English summer as well. I mean, who impresses you in that cartel? Is everybody worth their spot in that cartel? I mean, is this
Mark Wood?
Yeah, Mark Wood is wheels, isn't he?
He's quick, and he's got a beautiful action. Runs in like a 400-metre sprinter. You combine that with Jofra Archer, they hold the key to England. If they want to win this series coming up, Wood's got to play. Got to be fully fit. I'm saying that everything goes to plan. Mm-hmm. Jofra Archer, no issues with his body. I mean, he bowled beautifully when I saw him at Lord's. When we were up there a couple of months ago. If he's fully fit, bowling his beautiful bump off the wicket, natural trajectory off the wicket, and combine that with Mark Wood bowling 100, he can hit 150 Ks. He's quick. They could unsettle the top order, and that's how England, in my opinion, have to win. They've got to play Mark Wood first up and Archer.
So Wood and Archer together?
100%.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Set the tone, because whoever wins in Perth, I think, will win the series.
There's
what
obviously...
about? Can I just add? Sorry. What about other guys who are like getting a gig in this cartel as like 90-mile-per-hour bowlers, like Gus Atkinson, Bryden Cass? Tung's got some wheels as well. Do you or Tong, depending on your dialect?
Are they calling themselves the cartel, or is this something that
I think the English press? I don't think
has it been thrown around as
it
like
is. I mean, and then Stokes
well,
can
define
crank
a
it up.
cartel. Is it a group? Is it like a collective
Usually a
noun
drug
of bowlers? Yeah, I understand what it is, but like what sort of determines a cartel? Is it pace, or is it that you're thick as thieves and you work together?
Yeah.
See, to me, it was like...
It's a good point.
Have they earned the right to be called a cartel?
Well, Pidgey's in the cartel.
Yeah.
He wasn't 150 Ks, so yeah.
Like when I was like Stain, Morkel, Philander, was that a cartel?
I think so. Look, I think it's more hunting in packs.
Yeah, hunting in packs. That's a good point.
So,
how do you hunt as a pack when you just get the ball at the top of your mark and just bowling? Like how do you know that you're in a pack?
Well, one wolf always gets the lead chase, and the other ones follow. I think. I don't know. Talk about packs.
Well, yeah, because you got drug cartels, you got packs that are hunting together like wolves
or orcas.
Also, orcas do that.
Yeah.
How do you target a captain? Like you got the ball at the top of your mark. Like, what's the like? You're like, I'm trying to hit the top of off, or I'm trying to sniff him, but now I'm targeting him. How do I target him in a way that I wouldn't otherwise if I wasn't targeting him? Do you know? So we've got to target the captain. What does that mean?
Yeah. I've said this the whole and I know you're taking the piss here, but that you're spot on. No, it's actually like, what do people bowl a 4th or 5th stump line? I don't get it.
Yeah.
Like someone says, "Oh, you're not trying to get a wicket every ball." Yes, I am. I'm trying to get a wicket every single ball.
Yeah.
Otherwise, why bowl? And I know that's setting up plays, and you do that, but like, you can also set up a player by like, you don't walk into the casino and just go, I'm going to go the worst bets in the world and just walk out.
I'm setting myself up for future success.
You know? But it's actually like if you walk in there and you walk on the field and you go, right, I've got 3 stumps to aim at.
Yeah.
You don't aim at the 3 stumps. You can get caught behind.
Yep.
Get caught in general.
Yep.
If you bowl straight, you got stumps. So you got bowled, LBW, everything's in play.
Yep.
Every single form of dismissal's in place. So top of off is the place to be. So that's how you target. But then you think about, am I on a target a batsman to try to unsettle him?
Yeah.
That's different. You know, that's when you go the short theory or the bodyline theory and, you know, try and scare him.
We've there's been a bit of chat recently about, obviously no one knows if Pat's going to play, as we're recording this anyway. And then, you know, Scott Boland most likely to come in. We don't know how many tests Hazelwood's going to play because I think he's only played a couple of tests in the last, 4 or 5 years or whatever. You know, Mitch Stark ain't getting any younger. And when we start talking about this, it's like, geez, the bowling stock's actually pretty thin. But I feel like that's harsh because if you actually took away 4 of your best bowlers in any country, then the cupboard's going to look a little bare.
But if you also take away 4 managers in a business and you leave it to the guys that are less experienced, it doesn't mean they're worse bowlers or worse, colleagues. They just haven't got the experience.
Right.
But it would be thin once these 4 guys push on.
Yeah.
It is going to be thin because you've got the next generation coming through. And it is a catch-22 because we've been so blessed. And these 4 bowlers will actually go down as the best Australia have ever had. In terms of they've taken the wickets all over 250. Nathan Lyon just continues to get better and better and better with age. He can play as long as he wants. But, Pat Cummins, Mitchell Stark and Josh Hazelwood, they're not getting any younger. Mm-hmm. That's the nature of the beast. It's harder to bowl it as you get older. I still think they've got a lot to offer, though, in that sense. Get the younger guys in the squad and get them to feel what it's like to be around an Australian cricket team. I mean, Pat Cummins is, saw him today, the world's best bloke, and he'll pass on his knowledge, as we've passed on our knowledge to these younger guys coming through now have taken over that mantle. So it's very important that you don't just have 4 players, the fast bowlers, plus a Nathan Lyon. I'm talking about Scott Boland as well. That when they move on, it's like, okay, who's up next? Mm-hmm. Because that's when you will have, trouble. And as we saw that during, the Aussies in the 80s and 90s when, a lot of the players retired at once. Yeah. So it's hard.
Yeah. Would you favour, strategically bringing in super young guys to give them a chance to have those sort of long careers?
Yeah, and look, talk about batting here for a second. Sam Constance, I'd get him in. If they've earmarked him as, the guy's got a baggy green. He changed the trajectory of what happened in that Melbourne Test last year.
Yep.
And look, he didn't play a great shot up at Sydney. He'd be the first. He actually did admit it wasn't a good shot from his standards. But I want to see young guys coming through. You've got to earn your stripes too. So this might sound like I'm going to contradict myself, and I probably will. You've got to back someone. It's a bit like a unicorn. It's a startup. One startup gets through and they become a superstar because they've got the trust. Mm-hmm. You don't want to keep picking young players and dropping them. So whoever they pick to open the batting with Usman Khawaja this year, I want the coach to go, I don't care if you're to duck first innings. I don't care if you're to duck second innings. You're playing second match and third match and fourth. You're playing the whole series. Give someone 5 tests because I promise you if they know they've got 5 tests, they're not going to fail.
Australia-India white ball series is coming up at the end of this week, Binga. You're a guy that's traversed, you've been inside Indian cricket and Australian cricket. You've been there when there's big cricket on over there. I feel like sometimes in Australia we're a little, as a general public, we're very focused on the cricket that happens here, and a lot of the cricket over there happens when we're asleep, frankly.
Yep.
It's going to be a really popular series. I'm not just saying that because it's on Fox, but a lot of it's sold out, right? But a lot of it will be Indian fans as well.
95,000 at the G, which will be where you boys reside now.
Yeah, that's it.
Look, there'll be a lot of blue shirts. That's fine, and I love the Indian heritage that live in Australia that call themselves Aussies, and they are Aussies. Yeah. Until there's a game of cricket on with India. And I love that. They put their blue shirt on, next day they're green and gold again. Yeah. And I love it.
Yeah.
But it's going to be super exciting. Yeah. Super exciting.
What's your? I mean, more and more Aussie fans come to understand the power of India within cricket. What's your sense of where Australia is in terms of, like, Australian fans are in terms of that? We're talking about the privatisation of the BBL, for example. Indian franchises might come in, Sydney Sixers might go by a different name, and that kind of thing. Is that something? Do you think Aussies should be looking to embrace, to understand? What's your view on that piece?
Yeah, well, I mean, look, they had the option to do that before the Big Bash started. They had some ultra high net worth individuals out of India that wanted to buy it, and even do a 49-51 split. So they got the controlling right, but they didn't want to do it because they thought T20 cricket's a phase. It wasn't gonna last.
Wow.
Good call.
Whoops.
Where do you think Aussies are on T20 cricket? As a general populace,
in terms of viewership and in terms of fan base.
Yeah, and maybe T20's place in our consciousness, relative to other.
I love Test cricket first and foremost. I'm a bit of a Test purist. So I love how it's a game of chess, and you go the fifth day, it could be the last over, and we had it in Australia. I've played in a game where we won off the last over. But I also understand, and 50 over cricket, loved it. That was probably my best format in terms of where I was most successful, because they had to attack. There was no time, they could just see me off in Test cricket. Whereas T20 cricket, it brings a different demographic of people to watch the game, and that's got to be exciting and healthy, doesn't it? You got these young boys and girls that don't really go and watch Test cricket, but they go to watch the Sixers versus the Thunder. It might be that they pick a team because they love the colours. They see the names on the back. They've got the fireworks. They've got the music. Everyone's got a very short attention span now. And the young kids growing up, they spend too much time on devices. We've all been guilty of that. And you try and get them out the backyard and kick a footy around, or throw a ball around. But they want things to happen quickly. And that's why T20 cricket works. It's exciting. But you're never going to have the fan base, doesn't matter how much you promote it, in Australia to what you have overseas, because you've got massive people. You got, what's the population? It's 26 million or something in Australia,
Like that,
a bit
yeah.
more.
Oh, up 27 now.
27 million.
Yeah.
You got 1.5 billion. And I've met 10 people from India that don't like cricket. 10. Out of 1.5 billion.
Yeah.
So that's why India, it's the powerhouse. They run cricket, and so they should. They are fanatical. I've never seen a country or a race that loves something as much. People say football and Brazil or whatever it might be could come close, but no, I've never seen it like cricket in India.
Do you feel like there are some players that you probably couldn't critique in India owing to their fandom? Like, for example, was MS Dhoni overrated?
Wow, is MS Dhoni overrated? Back up a short break. there's no breaks here, is there? No, he's not overrated. No, he's not overrated.
I don't think he's either.
Symbols.
MS Dhoni
here, though. Sniffs.
he changed the way that the game is played, a bit like Gilly. Like Gilly wrecked it for everyone. He's so good.
Yeah, he did.
He wrecked it
Same
for
as
everyone.
Warne.
Yeah. But you think of what MSD's done, called the finisher. And he sort of came out and he. You rarely see him sweat. You rarely see him lose his cool. I've seen him lose his cool once on the cricket field where he walked out with something happened, and he just walks out in the field and has a chat to the umpires. I mean, you only see that in India. It wouldn't happen here. Definitely not overrated.
Won one World
and
Cup. I mean,
guys that play with him just say he's the nicest guy. His door's always open.
Yeah.
He won what?
He won one World Cup. I don't stop talking about it.
Home World Cup as well. Easy.
Well, one more than a lot of people.
We won a couple.
Binga, you're loved in Australia as you are in India, and you talk to some of the guys now, like some of them find India a hard place to travel to, like to tour. I mean, I want to know like how you went about ingratiating yourself in the culture, because I mean you are equally loved in both of these countries, and I see a lot of guys maybe don't make the effort that you did, but you obviously saw opportunity and you wanted to be part of. To ingratiate yourself in the culture.
Yeah, look, I went there in '94, where I got picked from the 17s to the under 19s Australian cricket team. They boosted me up a couple of years. I was doing my HSC, and I said to Mum and Dad, I've got because I knew at 9 I was going to play for Australia. It's weird, and I just trained my brain.
At what age did you say?
9.
9.
Yeah, I wanted to bowl 160 Ks and play for Australia. That was it.
Well, but I do this now.
and you do a very good job. I
Got
might add.
close.
No, but that
This is a podcasting version of that, by the way.
exactly. You just sit a couple little.
Yeah.
What do you get like a little baggy green felt?
Yeah. Baggy green.
There you go.
Mic foam.
Yes. Windsock. What do they call it?
Yeah. No, that's a different thing.
Oh, no, yeah.
Hey, about 6 for Australia.
Yeah.
Great, Crozier.
I went there in '94, and Mum and Dad said, "Chase your dream. Take your books over with you and study."
Yeah.
They didn't come out of the bag because I was studying for life, and that was the thing. And I just fell in love with India, and came back. They said, "How was it?" I was homesick. Hadn't been away from Mum and Dad. You know, I hadn't even left the state. Rarely. I'm now flying overseas. I'm the youngest, you know, in this whole group, playing against guys like VVS Lakshman at that age.
Wow.
Got horribly sick. Came back, you know, built like a wine glass, and it was just horribly sick, hard to bowl, didn't get a lot of wickets. And I said I had a great time. They're like, what? Why? How? I said, just the people. They're just lovely.
Yeah.
And I thought, there's something in this. I don't know whether you believe in past lives or whatever, and I don't really sort of believe in all that stuff, but there's something there that draws me back to India, and it's the people. They're so lovely and friendly. It gets overwhelming, of course, but it's like organised chaos, and I laugh, and I got the smile on my face because the stuff I've seen, hilarious, can only happen in India. And the energy, there's always something happening. Anything could happen at any time. It's just, it's incredible. So to answer your question, it was like, it wasn't, oh, this is a good opportunity. It was more the love of the nation. It was the love of the country.
Yeah.
And then the opportunity came from that. You know, I thought it'd be respectful to learn a little bit of Hindi, just to say thank you, or g'day. I was, in their terms, I was one of the first Gorda Farangis, the white foreigner, to get a local sponsorship over there, which hadn't really happened. So myself and Steve Waugh were both on that same page in early 2000 when we did that. And then just became this love affair for India.
Yeah.
And then you learn about Bollywood.
Yep.
You do a little cameo here or there.
Yeah.
Which I hope is not one of your questions. But I love it. And it's if you want to boost your ego and that's what your life's about, which mine's not, you go to India if you're a cricketer because you just get loved and looked after.
Yeah. Well, I do want to ask you about it. I'll be kind about it though. I mean, because we're so fascinated by like our heroes, like what they're like away from when we see them on the field, right? Like we want to know about their life or their partner or whatever it is. We want to know more about them to be closer to them, right? And a lot of the guys now, it's basically like it's coffee and golf. You know, it's pretty homogenous across everyone.
Yeah, it is.
But you're in a band and you're in Bollywood. You know, so like you've gone outside of the strict parameters of what you're allowed to like as a cricketer. So how's the group reacting to that?
Point.
You know?
I used to get sledged. I mean, Andrew Simons, Big Roy used to sledge the hell out of me, but rightly so. You go, Jethro. Call me Jethro, right? So Mark Waugh called Andrew Simons Jethro on the bus once, and out of the Beverly Hillbillies. Right. You know, the guy's very clumsy and always falling over and tripping over and all that. And I started laughing, so he started calling me Jethro. And he just, you know, he gets on something, he just stick with it. Yeah. But he goes, mate, that horrendous cheesy love song you wrote, why'd you do that? I said, why not? He's going, oh, mate, I wouldn't have done it. I said, well, how many number one hits have you got in India? Bugger it. You only live once, have a crack. Yeah. And like, you're not going to please everyone. Yeah. I love music. And if I had the choice, this is because I got asked this question, play for Australia or be like a proper rock star, like a Robbie Williams. I'd go music.
Yeah. Same.
Because imagine playing it. You know, I watched Oasis 2 weeks ago at Wembley, and just like Liam Gallagher just held the crowd in his hand, and that it's to a lesser extent when you got the ball because you're controlling the narrative of what's happening in the game at the top of your mark because they can't play until you run in. That's a little bit like that, but nowhere near like it.
Yeah, I reckon the closest I've seen to that is Warne.
Oh yeah,
it's the closest to. It's not the same
on the field.
On the yeah. What I wouldn't give to me on the bus. Just get me on the bus. Yeah. You know, like the theatre that he was able to create, and when he had momentum, you know, you felt something was going to happen every ball.
Presence,
right? Presence, that whole thing.
Yeah, definitely. Because you know, you see some of the goats in sport, they look at things different. I think of Tiger Woods, I think of Michael Jordan, I think of Shane Warne in cricket. messy. You know, they've just got this aura about them. Doesn't mean they're always going to have a great game, but I tell you what, they go pretty bloody close to it because they expect it's going to happen.
Yeah.
And it's the belief that you have to have, you know, within yourself that you expect it's going to be a good game. Like I sort of never went out to a game going, I'm going to have a shocker today. I'm going to dominate. If you believe that, the chances of it happening are pretty good. Now, it doesn't always happen. And you have less great games than worse games. You have a lot more worse games in cricket. And when I say worse games, where you're not getting wickets or runs, bad days in cricket. They happen all the time. So when the good stuff happens, you've got to enjoy it.
It must have been amazing. For instance, I think about 2006, right? Like the amazing Adelaide Test match.
Oh, yeah.
And Warne like just grabs the game by the scruff of the neck, if that's possible in a football sense. You know, like it must have been amazing to be on the field when he's playing for your side. And you feel like he's about to do something because it seemed to happen all the time.
Oh yeah,
you know.
Yeah, and I think that ball he by the slider around Kevin Peterson's legs or through his legs,
right?
That changed your game. Absolutely changed your game. But we used to always take the mickey out of Warne because the ball would start going reverse, and like give me an old ball over a new ball every day of the week,
right?
Because it's hard to pick up. And I was never one to cover it. You know, like Wazzy Macram would run in like this, but I need to run like a sprinter, like that momentum.
Yes.
So I'd show the ball. You still have to play it. Yeah. I tried that for a little bit, but then you confuse yourself, right? 4 wide. Sorry, Skip. Sorry, mate. But I used to love... And then the ball be tailing in.
Yeah.
And Warne's on the other end. He's got his hand... He's dead straight. He gets fifer.
Yeah.
Thanks, Warne.
Yeah.
Cheers, mate. Oh, it stops. I don't know what stops swinging.
Yeah.
I know why. Because you put friction on it, you know? Probably some hair products. But... when you wouldn't change it.
When we talked to your brother Shane, he told us about his entry into the Australian team and Warnie's efforts to befriend him straight away, to which Tugger said, like, you know, just be careful. And I'm keen to know about your entrance into the Australian team and whether Warnie tried to befriend you and what that looks like, being under Warnie's wing in the late 90s in the Australian men's test team. Brett Lee, Shane Warne.
Well, he's got the Nike earring in.
Oh, yeah.
He, you know, we're in Melbourne and it's first test, or, you know, you come back for the next series and you're playing your second series in Australia and, you know, the king invites you out for a beer. He wasn't a big drinker, Warnie.
Right.
But just different to be around. You know, you've been
So what's a beer like? Like when Warnie invites you out for a drink or whatever, like, where are we going? Just take us into it.
You'd go to the best nightclub that's possible.
Yeah.
And you'd always have mates that would sort out behind the bar, the tab and all that. And so you walk in and he just walks in like a rock star. It's like, I don't know, it's weird. I can't explain how good it is when you go out with Warnie. It's just different. But he just had this aura, and I keep saying aura on the field, but aura off the field. But I remember once we went to the casino, and his mate Pack, as he'd call him, James Packer.
Pack. Yeah,
so James Packer had organised for every member to go and have a play in, I think, the Mahogany Room down in Melbourne.
Okay.
So the private room, and you go and you get $1,000 each. Straight up.
Of course, yeah.
Just have a bit of fun.
Yeah.
Dabble and so you're with the high rollers and you're having a bit of fun. Yeah. So someone said, can I put 500 on red and 500 on black? That's not fair. Yeah. That's not what you meant to do. We had a bit of fun, and then next day we're flying Ansett. So long going back.
Yeah.
And Warne had this little bum bag around his tummy. And he hops on and you hear from the back of the crowd in economy, and they're all looking at Shane Warne walking on in business class, and he opens up his bum bag and all these hundreds just fly out. Had like 40k in his bum bag, and I reckon he unzipped it himself. He's like, oh, sorry, that's mine. Yeah, got to pick that up. No one else could get away with it. No one else would be able to do it, but it was Warne.
Yeah.
And nice guy, really good fella, loyal, and I still can't believe he's gone. It's sad, and we lost some greats back to back. You know, with Rod Marsh and obviously Andrew Simons, and you know, see his kids there today at the launch was amazing, and they're growing up. But yeah, it's just you just have these teammates, and they become family. You know these guys so well.
Yeah.
Is it true in the sanctum of your team that Pidge. I don't think I've got permission to call him Pidge. Glenn McGrath.
You can call him Pidge.
Pidge. But like
or the Cyril Pest.
Okay.
Yeah.
That Pidge was the only guy who was really able to sledge Warne. Like
Junior.
Oh, Junior as well.
Junior would just call it. And no one else could say it to Warne. You couldn't say, Warne, mate, I wouldn't be doing that, or you shouldn't be saying that. No, it's Warne.
Yeah.
What would Warne say back? Would he be like...
Who are you?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Oh, hi, mate, I've only got 20 tests underneath my belt at the moment, but you don't say boo, right? You don't say boo the king.
But
Junior, bang, nah. Okay, and he was the only guy that he'd like take it from. But Junior's so raw, and he's great company to be around. But yeah, Junior would call him out.
Yeah.
If he didn't do something right.
Pidge as well, because we heard we've heard stories about like
he loved Pidgey, and they both loved each other because they played their whole career together.
Right.
But no, like Pidgey's the nicest guy in the world. Like he didn't really call anyone out. Like he'd be sledging himself on the field rather than someone else.
You can maybe verify. I heard a story that like one day Warne had taken a bag of wickets at the Gabba, walks off the field, raises the ball and stuff, and he'd arranged a couple of like his Aussie, like AFL mates to come into the sheds. And so before they came into the sheds, he like put ice all over his like knees and his shoulder to look like a footy player. And then he got a VB, and everyone's walked in and gone like, Warne doesn't.
You don't drink VB, mate.
Yeah, and no one said anything. And then Pitch walked in after like man of the match or so. He said, "What the fuck are you drinking that for, Warne?"
No worries, buddy. You know, like, what's this, mate? You don't drink that. Come on, mate. Yeah, no, he would. Yeah, he'd muck around sledging, but no, if there was a serious like moment where you'd have to call someone out, most guys wouldn't, unless it was Junior.
Yeah. What do you make of this team, Binga? Look, when I say this team, I mean like basically from, let's say 2018, 2019.
Yep.
So, you know, like they haven't quite been able to achieve everything. Like,
which is all we ask.
Which is all we ask. You know, they've won a T20 World Cup together. They've won possibly the greatest ODI World Cup win of all time, India against that side in those conditions and circumstances. World Test Championship winners. Yep. They've won the home Ashes as comprehensively as you can.
Yep.
But they've not been able to win India. They haven't really been close, to be honest. And look, 2019 in England, they should have won that series, I think. Mm-hmm. And in 2023, they won the first two games, but after that, England played really well and you know, very much deserved to at least draw that series. So they haven't quite been able to complete everything. Whereas the sides that you played in, I know you can get a chance to truly win a T20 World Cup, but your sides pretty much did do everything. So, like, where do you see this side being? You know, perhaps compared to your side, which is the greatest of all time.
It's a hard question. It's a great question because I find it really hard to compare eras. It's different conditions, different players, different style of cricket too. And you even think back to one-day cricket. You know, Australia made 220. 220 in a 50-over match. Amazing, right? Or even 160, 180.
Yeah.
Like now, you knocked it off. You knock over 200 in T20 cricket in 20 overs. But it's a different game now. It's changed a lot. Look, the best way for me to answer that is that, I think they've done a good job, and they've won everything but what you mentioned. And is that detriment to them as players? Look, they try their hardest. I'm searching for a way that I can compare what I went through. I don't know what these guys are going through. I'm not sure about the talk in the change rooms that they might be hurting from not winning over in India. We won 16 tests straight, which we were so proud about. We wanted to set that tone. We had a great leader under Steve Waugh. I mean, we had every player was a match winner.
Yeah.
I always say now, if you can have one or two match players in a team, you can have a good team. I couldn't even believe I was in the squad, honestly. And we had Casper on the sideline, Bickle, 13th man sometimes. We had match winners. But different era once again. And if you have a look at some of the guys that played from 2018 up until now, your David Warner's unbelievable record in Test cricket, or every format. Steve Smith could go down as one of Australia's greatest players. Pat Cummins, Mitchell Starc, Nathan Lyon, Josh Hazlewood. They are match winners. It's superstars. So, yeah, I think pound for pound and buck for buck and what it's worth, people watching and enjoying it, they are absolutely what we achieved. They've achieved it, if not more, in my opinion.
Binga, you played a couple of seasons in the IPL as well.
It's good fun too.
Did you get a chance to? You would have crossed over with Virat as he was starting out. What was that like to go toe to toe with a young Virat Kohli as you in your twilight years?
Yeah, look, he had that really nice controlled arrogance about him, and I love that in a player, because you need someone that's got some presence. And you call it, people say arrogance is not good. Well, arrogance is good on the field, absolutely. You have to have that self-belief and don't come near me. I think it's evolved as he's got older and probably got even better. I love how he's passionate. Some people might also say that he puts a lot of stuff on for the cameras. I don't care. It works for him. So to play against him as a youngster is great. And I was so lucky the caliber of batsmen I got the chance to play against. Your Brian Lara's and your Sachin Tendulkar's and Kumar Sangakkara. Have you seen his record? Far out. Unbelievable. So,
and he didn't get to play.
I actually think I'm stiff the era I played in. I'm playing in a different era. But I mean, Kohli, he's changed the game, but also to his stardom is a lot thanks to social media too. And that was the era, and you can't compare the eras once again. There was no phones around in the 90s, and when did social media start? Like 2008 or 10, whatever it was. I mean, he's got over 200 million followers. So that purely on its own is a massive platform for him.
Yeah.
He's known everywhere in the world, as was Sachin. But people had to watch TV to see Sachin. He's on social media now, but...
Well, you bowled to both, so who's a better bat?
Who's a better bat? I've always said Sachin's the hardest batsman to bowl to. And I've bowled... you can play 1 game, 2 games, 5 games against someone, but you play your whole career against, a batsman. And I've watched him since the age of 16. The thing with Sachin, and the best way I try to articulate or break it down or describe why he was so good, it's time. I'm trying to create lack of time for a batsman. So you've got 0.35 of a second, 0.4 of a second, when you bowl the ball to when the batsman faces the ball, to work out what type of shot, where the ball's pitching, what's going to happen, make their mind up. Now, it felt like Sachin wasn't batting on the popping creases like he was on the return crease behind the stumps. He wasn't, but that's the time he had. So he had an extra metre of time. I don't know whether he was blessed with great eyesight or unbelievable reaction time. He likes his go-karting and stuff, so maybe he probably could have made a bloody good race car driver. Different reaction time, and that was why he's so good. Now you got other batsmen, a Kohli that goes forward to the ball more, and in his own right is absolutely world class. But for me, it's Sachin.
Brian Lara's another one in that era who's just an unbelievable cricketer, right? And who's so good to watch. And he did it here in Australia as well, so I think a lot of Australians really appreciate him and put him in high regard as well, right? There's great footage again on YouTube, and you're playing in the West Indies, and Brian Lara's just come to the crease. So I think you might have just taken a wicket. I'm not sure which city it's in or what Test match it's in.
It's Trinidad.
And so
I remember it.
So you come into bowl.
I bounced the shit out of him for 2 hours.
You bounce the shit out of him, yeah. And then Steve Waugh puts himself, that's still him it off, no helmet.
Yeah.
And he's got the BP speed dealers on, standing in front of him. And David Shepherd's the umpire.
Yeah.
And he comes on. He's
there
trying
would have been freebies as well.
And he's trying to separate Tugger, who's just standing there, arms crossed, just looking straight at Brian Lara. Brian Lara, Buff walks past, and he's getting involved. And then Brian obviously doesn't like what's being said or what's happening out there. Then you bowl a ball it's like short and wide, and Brian hits a cut shot that I don't think I've ever seen anyone hit a cut shot harder. And Steve Waugh's standing basically on his toes.
Yep.
That was Australia. That was Australia in your era, and it was red hot.
And then he was standing on my toes for bowling short and wide. He was getting humbled. Firstly, on Steve Waugh, he'd never back down from a challenge. I love that about him. I love the fact that he would eyeball arguably one of the best batsmen ever played the game. But I remember that that game because Brian Lara had never scored 100 in his hometown in Trinity.
Okay.
And for 2 hours, he was in the 90s. I think he was on 91 and 92, and he went from 91 to 92 in 2 hours. Didn't even get 100 in that spell, and I bowled 2 hours straight. And I tried, and I bowled my guts out for 2 hours. And I always said that's one of the best 2 hours of my life that I've had on the sporting field. He says it's one of the best spells he's faced, and I didn't get him out. He didn't sort of attack me or pump me for four too much. But it was that moment that we're in. He was so destined or determined not to get out and to get his first 100, which he did. He brought up his 100. And then you go back to his house, after the test had finished, and he's been gifted this mansion in Trinidad from the government for scoring 400. I was like, Johnny Howard never gave us a house when we got FIFA. Would have been nice.
We're very remiss of us not to touch on 6 and out as well. Because it's not enough to just to be the global superstar of bowling. You obviously have to do the rock and roll as well. But you guys you gigged around a lot last year. It seemed to be like a renaissance, and there was a documentary as well, and you guys are going around again.
We're going to go around again, and the coverage that we got last year. Obviously, we aligned ourselves with Maccas and on Fox and with KO, which was brilliant, and they got right behind us and right behind the doco. And in all honesty, we want to form or get back in and play with 6 out because of Gavin, because what he was going through with his health issues, with his brain tumour and that. And we just said to Gav, what makes you happy? Playing music. All right, enough of the crap. Let's get back. We'll always find time. It was like, I'm too busy, Shane's too busy, Brad's too... Nah, let's just find time. And we realised how much we love it. And the fact that we did this documentary, and it's great to look back and some of the stuff, the stories the boys have told, I was like, actually, that did happen. And if you don't do something for 20 years, you can lose that memory very, very quickly.
Yeah.
But someone in the street came up to me and they said, we went to Coldplay a couple of nights ago. I'm like, okay, right. And they said, that 6 and out's got more exposure than Coldplay in the last 6 weeks. I said, we wish, but they pumped us up massively.
Yeah.
But we loved it. We absolutely love it. Yeah. Played a gig last night, probably a little bit scratchy, a bit hoarse today, but it's a different feeling. It's a great feeling. It's probably the closest you get to being out in the sporting field again, because there's that nervous energy. We argue over about the bloody set list. What's the set list going to be? And then we all go around, and then Buzzard's the captain. He just goes, just do what we did last night or whatever. Okay, yeah, good call. McGrath used to say the same thing on the field. We'd have a 3-hour meeting, top of off with a good sniff. Good call, Pidge. Done.
Brilliant.
So the secret in life, just keep it simple, stupid.
Yeah. I want to ask you about, my observation about your brand of commentary, Binga, if I may, is big on the sports science stuff, the rig stuff, human movement. I like that kind of gear from you. Gym work, that kind of stuff. Now, have you ever said the word intercostal and Junior, for instance, might be like, mate, what are you talking about?
Oh, when you start pulling out words like, as I said before, counter rotation, hyperextension, twisting and turning, layman's terms, make it easy. What I try to do, I guess, with my broadcasting is people can see where the ball goes. Most people can see where the ball goes if they're watching the TV. You don't need to say it's gone through the covers for 4. You can if you're calling live and you can articulate that. I'm trying to take the viewer into what am I feeling at this particular time. I've been pumped for 4. What's going through my head now? You have to reset your mind. It's a batsman's game. It's a very, commentary has always been a very heavily batsman sort of commentary team. So to have a bowler in the commentary team, I think is great. And I think we need more. To talk about, no one knows about, we used to land on a hole this deep.
Yeah.
You ask an Olympic javelin thrower, it's going to be wet. You land on a hole, you try and throw that spear 80 metres, they can get off, mate.
Yeah.
I need the best landing where I don't slide. Well, that's bowling. So I'm trying to say, not make excuses for the bowlers. Starks pushed that one down leg side. his ankle's sore, he's landing in a big hole. Well, he's probably a bad example because he's a left-hander. He gets his own little beautiful smooth spot. But guys are going through, it's a tough time being a bowler. So I try to take the viewer into what we're thinking, what we're going through in our minds and have some fun doing it. Like, my life is pretty... My mantra is just to have fun and don't take yourself too seriously. Mm-hmm. Doing it in a way where you don't offend anyone, but have some fun doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Brett Lee, so generous with your time. Thanks so much for the
absolute pleasure, gents.
Hour plus that you've given us.
Is it an hour?
Just
time flies when you're having fun. No, it's good, but I'm looking forward to this summer. It's going to be a massive summer coming up. Hopefully we can smash the Poms.
Yeah, agree. I mean, they're a very good team. And
they are.
They'll tell us that. So,
Thanks,
Binga.
Good on you, lads.